Welcome, seekers of truth and bearers of divine light. The unseen realm is shifting, and the echoes of a higher calling are louder than ever. The universe does not whisper. It roars to those destined to hear it. When God removes someone from your life, He heard conversations you didn't, saw actions you missed, and knew things you didn't. Tonight, we unveil a mystery unfolding in the spiritual realm. Why chosen ones are suddenly losing connections, why certain doors are slamming shut overnight, and why angelic forces are intervening now more than ever. This is not mere coincidence. This is divine alignment. Before we dive into these revelations, make sure to subscribe and step into the light of spiritual wisdom. Because in this journey, knowledge is not just power, it is armor. There is an urgency in the heavens, a shifting of forces unseen yet deeply felt. Many are experiencing sudden disconnections, relationships crumbling overnight, friendships dissolving without explanation, and a growing sense of isolation. This is not random. It is a celestial cleanup, a process by which angels are removing toxic ties to ensure the chosen ones stay on their ordained path. The reason this is happening now, more than ever, is because the spiritual battlefield is intensifying. The forces of darkness are working overtime to keep people bound in cycles of exhaustion, confusion, and stagnation. Those who are destined for a higher purpose are being targeted, and their energy is being drained by the wrong people. When angels intervene, it is not always gentle. Sometimes their method is abrupt, even painful. They cut ties overnight, severing connections that no longer serve you. They do this because time is of the essence. The chosen ones are being called to step into a higher level of consciousness, and there's no room for distractions. The people you once depended on, the relationships you thought were permanent, if they are suddenly removed, it is because they were weighing you down. The truth is, not everyone can go where you are headed. Some people are in your life as lessons, and once the lesson is learned, the connection dissolves. This is divine alignment at work. The angels are rearranging your circle, placing people in your life who will elevate you instead of deplete you. There is a misconception that chosen ones must endure toxic relationships as a test of endurance. But the reality is that endurance is meant for the journey, not for carrying dead weight. If you have been feeling drained, if certain people leave you emotionally exhausted, it is because your energy is being stolen. And angels do not allow theft in the kingdom of God. Some exits are divinely orchestrated, even when they don't make sense. It is easy to grieve relationships that end suddenly. You may question why someone who was once so close to you has become distant. But understand this: when people disappear without explanation, it is because their presence was interfering with your divine assignment. God is not obligated to explain every removal. Some people were only meant to be in your life for a season. The problem is, many chosen ones mistake seasonal people for permanent ones. And when that happens, stagnation follows. One of the hardest truths to accept is that some relationships are not built on love or destiny, but on convenience. Some people remain in your life simply because they benefit from your energy. When you start growing, evolving, and moving into a higher spiritual state, those who thrived off your old self will begin to withdraw. It is not personal, it is spiritual. The moment you start to vibrate on a different frequency, those who are no longer aligned with your purpose will feel uncomfortable in your presence. If you have noticed certain people pulling away, if old connections are fading and conversations are becoming forced, it is a sign that an angelic intervention is underway. The divine does not allow chosen ones to carry unnecessary baggage. When God is preparing you for something greater, He will remove distractions without warning. It may seem unfair at first, but in time, you will see that every loss was making room for something far greater. The silent exodus, the people who vanish without a word, the relationships that crumble without explanation, is all part of the divine plan. Instead of chasing after those who have been removed, embrace the space they have left behind. It is in that space that new blessings will flow. The chosen ones are being positioned for something monumental. This is not a setback. This is a setup for elevation. Certain individuals in your life are not just burdens. They are energy vampires, draining your spiritual strength, leaving you exhausted, and clouding your divine vision. What makes this dangerous is that their presence is often disguised as love, friendship, or even mentorship. Not everyone who walks beside you is truly with you. Some people linger in your life, not to support you, but to feed off your energy, your light, and your anointing. Angels recognize this before you do, and that is why they are cutting these toxic ties overnight. The most deceptive form of spiritual attack does not come from outright enemies, but from people who pretend to care while secretly siphoning your strength. Have you ever felt inexplicably drained after talking to someone? Have you noticed that some relationships leave you feeling empty, confused, or burdened? This is not just emotional exhaustion. It is a sign that your energy is being depleted at a spiritual level. The chosen ones carry divine light, and wherever light exists, darkness seeks to attach itself. These toxic ties are not just unhealthy. They are strategically placed to keep you from stepping into your true power. When angels step in to sever these bonds, they do so because they see what you cannot. They hear the conversations behind closed doors. They sense the deception hidden behind false smiles, and they know when someone's intentions are not pure. You may feel a deep connection to someone, believing they are meant to be in your life forever. But if they are suddenly removed, trust that it is for your protection. Some people carry spirits that are in direct opposition to your calling. Their presence alone blocks blessings, delays breakthroughs, and keeps you in a cycle of confusion. Many chosen ones struggle with letting go because they believe in second chances. You may feel obligated to keep people around out of loyalty, history, or love. But the truth is, loyalty should never come at the cost of your spiritual well-being. If someone constantly leaves you feeling exhausted, uninspired, or burdened, it is because their energy is incompatible with your purpose. When God removes someone, it is not to punish you. It is to free you. Do not grieve the loss of toxic connections. Celebrate the liberation of your spirit. There is a reason why isolation often follows the removal of toxic ties. When angels intervene, they do not just remove people. They place you in a period of divine quarantine. Many chosen ones mistake this isolation for punishment, but in reality, it is a time of purification, renewal, and preparation. You are being separated from the noise, the distractions, and the people who were never meant to walk with you into the next chapter. During this period, you may feel lonely, misunderstood, or even abandoned. You may question why God is keeping you away from people, why certain friendships are not being restored, or why doors that once seemed open are now shut. But understand this: God isolates before he elevates. Just as a seed must be buried in darkness before it can grow, you must be placed in solitude before your spirit can fully awaken. This time is not about loss. It is about transformation. Angels remove toxic ties to give you space to hear God's voice more clearly. The distractions that once filled your mind are gone, and in their absence, you will find deeper wisdom, sharper intuition, and greater spiritual strength. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of something greater. The people who were removed could not come with you because they were not equipped to handle the version of you that is emerging. Instead of resisting this isolation, embrace it. Use this time to build your faith, to realign with your purpose, and to prepare for what is coming. Because once the quarantine is over, once you have fully stepped into this new level of spiritual power, you will understand why those connections had to be severed. And when the right people enter your life, you will see that what was removed was never meant to stay. The spirit realm is most active when the physical body is at rest. While you sleep, unseen battles are being fought on your behalf. The connections you were unable to break during the day, the toxic ties you struggled to let go of, angels are severing them in the quiet of the night. This is why some mornings feel different. You wake up lighter, as if something heavy has been lifted from your spirit. You cannot explain it logically, but deep inside, you know a shift has occurred. Many chosen ones experience intense dreams, sudden clarity, or even physical sensations of release during this process. You may dream of certain people leaving, of doors closing, or of breaking free from invisible chains. These are not random visions. They are spiritual confirmations that toxic ties are being cut. If you have ever woken up and felt an unexplainable peace after weeks of turmoil, it is because an angelic intervention has taken place overnight. Some bonds are so deeply rooted that they cannot be broken by mere decision. They require divine intervention. Have you ever tried to walk away from someone only to feel pulled back in? Have you attempted to cut ties, but something keeps drawing you back into the same cycle? This is because certain toxic relationships are reinforced by unseen spiritual agreements, soul ties, generational patterns, and spiritual contracts that were unknowingly formed. These are the bonds that angels are breaking while you sleep. Not all connections are meant to be permanent, but some people remain in your life longer than they should because an unseen tie exists. These ties manifest as feelings of guilt, obligation, or an unexplainable attachment. You may feel drained, manipulated, or emotionally entangled in ways you cannot fully understand. This is because toxic ties operate in the unseen realm before they manifest in the physical. If you have ever felt mentally exhausted from someone's presence yet unable to let go, you are experiencing the weight of an unbroken spiritual bond. Angels break these contracts when they recognize that they are interfering with your divine purpose. Some people enter your life under false agreements, connections formed out of manipulation rather than mutual purpose. You may have believed certain friendships or relationships were meant to last forever, but if they suddenly dissolve, it is because the spiritual contract keeping them in place has been revoked. This is why, after a spiritual breakthrough, certain people no longer feel familiar. The tie that once connected you has been severed. Signs that an angelic intervention has taken place are often subtle but undeniable. You may feel an overwhelming sense of peace where anxiety once lived. You may notice that the urge to reach out to someone toxic has completely vanished. What once felt like an emotional burden now feels like a distant memory. These are signs that you have been freed from an unseen bond, that an angel has worked on your behalf to remove what was keeping you bound. Instead of questioning why someone is no longer in your life, recognize the divine timing in their departure. If their exit came unexpectedly, if they walked away without closure, or if their presence in your life suddenly feels unnecessary, trust that this is an act of divine protection. The less you resist, the faster you will move into the new chapter that awaits you. Angels do not remove without replacing. When one door closes, another opens. And when the wrong people leave, the right ones arrive. The energy shift that follows the breaking of toxic ties is not just about loss, it is about realignment. Once the distractions are removed, new opportunities, deeper connections, and greater spiritual revelations begin to emerge. When chosen ones experience a sudden clearing of their circle, it is not a punishment, it is preparation. You are being positioned for something greater, and those who were removed were never meant to go where you are headed. Instead of mourning what was lost, anticipate what is coming. The right people, those aligned with your destiny, will enter your life at the perfect time. When angels remove toxic ties, they are not just creating space in your life, they are shifting your entire energy field. One of the most profound signs that divine intervention has taken place is the transformation of your spiritual frequency. You may not notice it immediately, but over time, you will feel different. Conversations that once interested you will seem meaningless. People who used to drain you will feel distant, and the places where you once felt comfortable will no longer resonate with your spirit. This is because when negative energy is removed, your spirit is no longer weighed down. You begin to vibrate at a higher frequency, aligning with your divine calling. This shift is not just emotional or mental, it is deeply spiritual. The people who leave your life during this transition do not just walk away, they are repelled by the new energy you carry. Those who thrived on your lower vibration can no longer connect with you, and their departure is simply the result of divine alignment. Once the wrong people are gone, you will notice something miraculous. Doors that were once closed will start opening effortlessly. Opportunities that seemed impossible will become accessible. Your intuition will sharpen, and your ability to discern spiritual deception will increase. This is the reward of letting go. When you release what no longer serves you, you make room for what is truly meant for you. Many chosen ones fear this transformation because it feels lonely. The absence of familiar faces can be unsettling, and the loss of old connections can create a temporary void. But this void is not meant to be filled with distractions. It is meant to be filled with purpose. Instead of trying to replace what was lost, embrace the stillness. Let yourself grow into the version of you that no longer tolerates toxicity. The purpose of this spiritual reset is preparation. God is positioning you for something greater, something beyond what you can see right now. The relationships that ended were not accidents. They were necessary shifts to prepare you for the next level of your journey. You were not meant to stay stagnant, surrounded by people who cannot elevate with you. Those who left were not meant to witness your next chapter because they were never part of the story God is writing for you. As you move forward, trust the process. The emptiness you feel now will be replaced with purpose. The silence will give birth to revelation. And the people who are truly meant for you will enter your life effortlessly, without force, without resistance, and without manipulation. The chosen path is not for the faint of heart. Angelic interventions are not always pleasant, but they are necessary. When toxic ties break, miracles happen, and the weight of the wrong people is replaced by the wings of destiny. If this message resonated with you, stay connected, stay awakened, and subscribe, because this is only the beginning. Your journey is not random. The hand of God is moving, and soon you will understand why everything had to change.